I'm not a racing game fan. In fact, if I'm being completely honest, it is one of only 2 game genres that just do not seem to click with me, the other genre being fighting games. If I had to guess why, it's probably because I don't like cars. I mean, I don't hate them by any stretch of the imagination, the same way I don't hate my toaster. Yeah, I know, I can't drive my toaster, but I don't have a license, so I can't drive a car either. So to get pretentious for just a moment, I think without that sentimental connection, or, inherent interest to the thing that you're supposed to be for the entire game, I just don't have it in me to find that spark that makes me enjoy racing games for very long. But I have enjoyed racing games in the past. Crash Team Racing for the awesome hub and genuinely fun arcade gameplay. Need for Speed Most Wanted because it succeeded at making me attached to cars I owned through pursuit heat levels and impound strikes. And even Wipeout, just for the sheer speed and chaos on screen. These were all incredible games in their own ways, and I spent a lot of time playing them growing up. You'll notice games like Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsports aren't on that list though. I've played them here and there, but they've never caught me in a meaningful way because they weren't anything more than a car sim to me. I've also never played any Forza Horizon game outside of a short hour or two with 3 and 4, just to see the locations, particularly 3, which was set in a faraway wasteland known as Australia, never heard of it. So, at the end of the day, it would appear my beef isn't with racing games as a genre. It could potentially just be with racing sims, the games that take the whole racing aspect super seriously. The ones where you get a car and you race around a standard track, you turn and overtake each other respectfully, you tip your fedora as you pass your opponents, and you keep doing that just endlessly. With the release of Horizon 4 and 5, I had always heard about how good the games were outside of being racing games. They were somehow more than just a racing game. So I wanted to give 5 another go to figure out where my hang-ups were, and if Horizon 5 was going to be a game to finally add to my short collection of racing games I genuinely enjoyed. To my surprise, the internet didn't lie to me for once. Forza Horizon 5 may very well be a racing game, but my god, it's one hell of a game anyway. Okay, so let's start off from the start. Forza Horizon 5, the 5th game in the Horizon offshoot series under the Forza umbrella, is an open-world car-based racing game set in Mexico. I'm going to be completely open and transparent when I say that I know nothing about racing games, so don't, expect an in-depth analysis of this game's racing mechanics or overall car feelings, because this is very much a review from the myopic eyes of an infant, someone not educated enough to enjoy the vroom vrooms of a car engine. That's just not me, okay? If you don't like car games or don't usually play them, then this might be the review for you. For example, there was a tuning mechanic I noticed in the game where you could manually tweak car settings to alter the car's performance, but as soon as my eyes saw terms like camber alignment and damping and lateral G's, my eyes glossed over and my palms started sweating and I started shaking violently. It's completely possible I may have some form of car-based dyslexia, but that's what it is. This game has a lot of cars and a lot of options for how you want to drive your specific car. I know this is very important since car fans are very passionate about which car is the best car, and there are probably a lot of people desperately hoping their Toyota Celica made the cut. And look, I'm not going to give you a list of all the cars in the game because there are just that many. It would take me forever. There are over 500, I know that for sure. If you like a car, I am sure it is in this game, or at least something extremely similar is, and if you like terms such as aero and forward gears, there are plenty of technical details to sink your teeth into. If you're a racing fan, I'm sure you've played any of the other 4 Horizon games, so you should know what to expect from the cars and general gameplay at this point. Now, I used the term open world car-based racing game before, and you may be wondering about what that consists of. The core gameplay loop consists of you driving your car around the Mexican open world to different nodes on your map that you then use to enter into specific race events. When you first open the map, you'll likely be completely overwhelmed like I was by the icons and different directions to go, but really there's no right or wrong answer. Everything you do in the game earns you something called accolades, which are then used to get you to the next main event. Usually these are little adventures or expeditions where you narratively expand the Horizon Festival to new locations on the map. One expedition had me navigating the bubbling caldera of an active volcano before racing off-road to escape the tremors. Another one had me trekking deep into an ancient civilization's temple in the middle of an insane apocalyptic storm before, again, escaping through the swamps and into the beautiful beaches of Mexico. These are some of the most visually striking and enjoyable moments of the game as you expand your influence through the world. It's actually pretty rewarding, honestly, to see a once empty town converted into a bubbling music festival because of your actions. The missions themselves aren't anything special. I mean, they're cool. They're really cool. But you are fundamentally doing the same thing as you are in the race events. You're just, driving fast towards a direction. But it's still a fun excuse to visit new locations amid spectacular set pieces. Narratively, there's not much beyond a few short stories and character sprouting off family means everything tier dialogue, but it serves its purpose and I wasn't exactly expecting anything more than that. Like I said before, you unlock these more unique missions and adventures through the accolade system. They're essentially little trophies or in-game achievements, and there are so many. You earn an accolade for each racetrack node you complete on the in-game map. You earn accolades for building up skill points, for discovering unique locations, for taking photos, for playing with friends or against strangers. You earn accolades for pretty much everything in the game. What this means fundamentally is that you can progress the game's narrative and your own progression through pretty much any avenue, which, is admittedly pretty fantastic. It means you can do whatever you want straight away. This raises an interesting dilemma for me though, where it meant that I never got attached to any of the cars I was given, not even to the point where I wanted to upgrade them or invest more time into them by, fine-tuning them, since nothing ever required me to do that. It also meant I didn't care when I was given or earned a new car, since you can use pretty much anything to do pretty much anything, and the cars are literally handed out like candy to you along with the accolades, so I never really cared much to remember the cars I was using outside of the event I was specifically using them for. Your type of car you choose to race in an event will also dictate what your opponents will be racing as well. This definitely isn't a bad thing. It'd be decidedly more frustrating having to make sure you bring the right car to the right event, but it does contribute to that weird feeling of not really caring about finding or unlocking new cars. I don't know, I just had a real issue with that sense of progression. I didn't really find any compelling reason to keep doing what I was doing other than seeing new festival sites pop up, which was cool, but it wasn't something substantial that would have made me want to continue on. So your mileage may vary here, pardon the epic pun, but it was definitely a stark contrast for me to my previous favorite racing game, which was Most Wanted, where the cars were memorable to me because of how they were earned and used and maintained throughout the game. Unlocking a new car in that game was more impactful and meaningful. Maybe more so because there were less cars in that game and they weren't just handed to you, but I think it is a contributing feeling to why I didn't enjoy myself as much as, a car fan might in this game. The gameplay itself is fun though. I don't want to give off the wrong impression that it's not fun, because it definitely is fun. It's arcadey and easy, but the tracks are well designed, and the other gameplay additions that are layered on top are all worthwhile additions. There are speed traps where you have to race along a stretch of road, trying to hit a certain speed by a certain point. There's barn finds where a zone pops up on the map and you have to track down a hidden building within that zone to unlock a rare car. There's billboards and stunt jumps that fill the map as well, just giving you endless things to, hunt down and do. The game's got everything. There's a battle royale, something called the Horizon Tour, which I assume those are both multiplayer modes, but I was unable to find lobbies in the pre-release period to test them out. But I'm sure they're fun, and I'm sure they work well, and I'm sure they only add to the amount of things you're able to do in this game, because everything else in the game leads me to believe that. The point is, there's a lot to do here, and while it's overwhelming at first, like I said, you quickly find that it doesn't matter what you do, so there's no point in really just not exploring and doing whatever you come across anyway. What really interested me about the game was the sheer amount of customization options in terms of difficulty. You could adjust everything from opponent's skill level, driving assists, braking, damage, steering, etc. And if you cranked all of these options to their most extreme, you'd get given more credits for winning races. I think that was just I don't know if it's like that in previous games, but that's a brilliant system that gives you incentive to play the game in a more difficult way, while also providing options for less skilled players. I mean, not useful for a massively skilled racing gamer like me, of course. I cranked those settings right to the top, of course, like a true gamer. But yeah, I just thought that was a really cool thing to note, that difficulty matters in this game in a way that I haven't seen it matter in other games. Customization in general is a big aspect of this game. It shines through in pretty much every single factor. Cars can be customized in every way humanly imagined. Again, it means nothing to me since I'm not a car guy, but you know, I'm sure it's impressive to whoever does enjoy cars and knows what a damper is. Visually, you can customize your car's colors, stuff like its body and spoiler. You can add liveries to it, either ones you designed in-game or you can download what other players have created. There's just so much here to customize, from your player's wardrobe, to your car's wardrobe, to your car's insides, to the simulation and difficulty aspects of the game, to the freaking races themselves. Nearly everything can be tailor-made if you want it to be. As an aside, for what it's worth, the cars handle really well in this game and feel super fun to drive. That's it. That's about all I can say on that. I pushed a thumbstick and held down the trigger, and the thing I was driving reacted the way I wanted it to, and that's all that matters in a game like this. The variety of locations on hand is really good as well. You've got your beaches, your forests, your deserts, etc. Nothing really jumps out as new necessarily, but you know, come on. You're 5 games in at this point and it's set in a place on Earth. There's not going to be random sci-fi locations or a part of the map that looks like the moon. The map is large, it's Mexico. There was a race event that took me around the entire perimeter of the map in the fastest car possible, and that still took me about 13 minutes. So no complaints from me about the map or what's inside the map or the size of the map or anything like that. It feels large, it looks very pretty, it's well designed. My main negative complaint about the game is that there doesn't necessarily seem to be much new foundationally in the game. I know Forza Horizon 4 added seasons, which were these game-changing events in-game that lasted real-life days, and they make a return in Forza Horizon 5 in a similar, if not slightly less impactful way. Instead of the map changing events between winter and summer, where snow played a big part in how you played the game in Forza Horizon 4, you know, you'd slip around while you're driving and it'd change the visual aspect of the map pretty much entirely. You now get dry and storm seasons, which add geographically relevant dust storms in the west and more sandy side of the map, and you get tropical storms in the east of the map during the wet season, in the forest and such. It's a cool feature, and it adds to the game similarly to how the Forza Horizon 4 seasons did, but you know, it doesn't necessarily feel new or substantial like how the seasons did in Forza Horizon 4. Like, I feel like that changed the game or the franchise pretty significantly, and I don't think that this game has that kind of wow factor or that new big thing that will interest players in the same way. That doesn't mean that this isn't an incredibly polished and fun game to play though, because it absolutely is. I played this on an RTX 2080 Ti at 4K ultra settings with the ray tracing. I believe that's only in a certain part of the game though, and I was hitting a consistent 60 to 80 FPS with no dips under 60 from what I could tell, maybe here and there, but really I didn't notice, so that's what matters. It's incredibly impressive that it hits this number and looks this good. The game is visually incredible, I don't need to tell you that, you can see that for yourself. It's in front of you right now, it's beautiful. It really is just a visual spectacle at times, especially during like the showcase events and stuff where a lot is going on and you can take in the full environment and the speed of your car. Yeah, I mean, I was just wowed constantly. And to add on to that, it ran with no issues and was rock solid in terms of performance, no crashes or anything like that. I played it briefly on the Xbox Series X as well, and the game looks just as incredible there. And it has a performance mode which outputs at 4K and runs at a locked 60 FPS. Didn't notice any drops there either. Not sure why you choose to run the other mode, the quality mode, which outputs at 4K as well, but caps the frame rate at 30 FPS. I think it looks slightly better in quality mode, but really that performance hit is not worth it, so I would stick with the performance mode for sure. Horizon 5 also features live game elements which run in conjunction with the seasons model, the thing that I was just talking about where there's a dry season and there's a wet season. So every few weeks a new season runs in game with new challenges and rewards. So it was the wet season while I was playing, and I played through a championship event which had me racing on wet tracks around the map, and I got, you guessed it, a car as a reward for doing that. So, you know, it's cool and it adds more stuff to the game and promises to continue adding stuff to the game for the long term, which adds incentive to keep you coming back and engaging with the Mexican world they've built here. All of this is to say, yet again, there's just so many experiences to have in this game, with all the dynamic weather, the day and night cycle, the number of raw tracks, modes and cars, the seasonal content and challenges, the fact that you can bring whatever car you want to whatever race you want whenever you want. Every time you boot up the game, you can just have a new experience that feels completely fresh. That's impressive for a genre that hasn't felt fresh to me since literally forever. So to further expand on that kind of live interactability, this is a multiplayer game as well, and it's full of multiplayer content. You can race with friends, take on strangers in ranked lobbies, play arcadey games like Capture the Flag, take part in that battle royale I mentioned from before. You can even do the entire narrative / main story stuff in co-op. You can explore the open world in a convoy, challenge each other in Forza Arcade. You can download other players' tracks and car designs or make your own and have others download yours. There's a freaking auction house in this game where you can sell your cars and bid on new ones. There's just so much here in this game, it's almost ridiculous, and pretty much everything is just fun. Okay, so let's sum this up. Did I have fun in this game? Yes. Far more than I expected I'd have, to be completely honest. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'd recommend it to other people who don't enjoy car games. Everything I've described here previously is 100% objectively true, and the game plays really well and is packed full of content. But is there anything there that is worth playing for a non-racing game fan? You know, I don't exactly think so. The fact that you're able to do whatever you want with whatever car you want from the very beginning is perfect for a racing game fan, because all they want to do is take their favorite cars and hit the tracks. I think the lack of meaningful in-game progression beyond unlocking arbitrary new story missions by doing races hurts the game for people who don't just want to race their favorite cars. If everything is able to be done immediately and cars are just handed to you, I don't have anything meaningful to grab onto. You get handed supercars at the beginning of the game, so there's no real progression there for non-car fans to really connect with, since you've already got the best from the very beginning. This isn't going to magically make a non-racing game fan enjoy racing games. It's just not. It's fun, yes, but there's not enough there outside of racing amazing looking cars for them to care. If you like car games or racing games though, this is probably going to be your game of the year, and I wouldn't fault you at all. It's an incredibly well put together game, packed to the brim with things to do. It runs exceptionally well. It's possibly one of the best looking games to have ever existed. It has an awesome soundtrack and great sound design, which I should have mentioned, but it does. It has all of that stuff, but you can't teach a fish to climb a tree, and I don't think you can teach someone who doesn't love car racing games to love a car racing game without expanding on it beyond it just being a really good car racing game. So would I recommend the game? Yes, absolutely, 110%. If you're a car racing fan, or if you like cars, if you've ever even looked at a car briefly and thought, you know what, yeah, that's pretty cool, I like that thing. That is still a resounding yes, I would recommend it 110%. But then the answer shifts ever so slightly to no, I would not recommend it if you don't fit into those categories. The good thing about Forza Horizon 5 though is that it's on Xbox Games Pass, so you can give it a try without paying for the game, so you know, why wouldn't you? I'm going to say this about every single Games Pass game that if I do review it. What's the point in a review? Just go play it. You've already paid the $5 or however much Games Pass is. You technically already own it, so go play it. Objectively, I'd give the game an arbitrary 9 out of 10, 4.5 out of 5, 90 out of 100, etc. You know, it's just a really good game that I did enjoy playing. Alright, that's it for me this time. If you liked this video from me, leave a like and let me know below. Here's some community interaction. Why don't you leave your favorite car type below, your favorite car below, and I'll heart it if it's a car that I know. Feel free to subscribe as well, because I might start reviewing games more like this. I mean, like the way I'm reviewing it currently, not more games like Forza Horizon 5. But yeah, I might start reviewing games in this fashion more. I know I probably picked the worst game to review first, since I'm not a car racing game fan, and I chose a car racing game to review, and that's dangerous to say the least. But yeah, long story short, Forza Horizon 5 was a very fun game, a very well put together game, and yeah, I liked it a lot.